Yeah.
I want to talk about Ja Morant, which is now they nicknamed him on Twitter John Warrant, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny. Actually, I was laughing a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So he is on Instagram showing a gun. It's not just that. The problem is he may have some legal issues because for him to have the gun, he traveled across state lines with a gun. He wasn't supposed to. Like it's more and more problems. The Grizzlies suspended him for I think 2 games, but the NBA is probably going to suspend him indefinitely. I think. Well, before I would tell you what I think, Pedro, what do you think about the situation?
Okay. To be honest, I was very selfish at first because he's going to be fine. He's got a lot of money. He's not going to jail. Like he'll be okay. So whatever. But I'm going to Memphis to watch this man play
Oh yeah,
basketball on Saturday, and my
damn.
nephew. So and that's not going to happen.
No,
And I paid for these damn tickets. So Ja Morant, read between the
shame
lines,
on you,
okay?
man. Shame
Shame
on
on
you.
you, Ja Morant. Now, my only thing is, okay, hopefully Kyrie and Luka play and they don't rest because I am praying that both
Do
these
they need
that
to
those
win a
guys
lot of these
don't.
games? Actually, they do. They've been losing. Yeah, so they definitely play because they've been.
I hope,
Yeah, the
but I'm saying
standings
you
are
never
not.
know. These guys might take a break or they tweaking it. So if I'm going to go see Tim Hardaway Jr. and Steven Adams play, and I want to drive 8 hours. I'm gonna be pretty upset. That's my first thought.
Let me.
Secondly,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we've talked about Ja Morant on this show a few times,
A
and
few
his
times.
maturity level, the Memphis Grizzlies maturity level, just you know what I'm saying. And I'm not surprised that he's doing this. I think NBA players, some NBA players in the past, even when I was younger, have kind of acted like this, whatever. But I don't know a whole lot about the gun thing. What I heard was, I guess he was in a club or something, or he did something on Instagram Live and he flashed the weapon. Probably,
there's he was like
yeah,
chilling and then like showed it. Like he's goof, like more of like a goof. Like he wasn't like pointing or
yeah,
talking any
yeah,
kind of like recklessness. He was just showing a gun, which like either you're a rapper or
yeah,
like a dumbass, like a gang member. Like
yeah,
you don't win show, and it's not like he's demonstrating something. He's not at a gun range. He's not. It's
yeah.
just I
Right.
got my jewels on. I got a gun because I'm a tough guy,
Yeah.
and
It's an
it just
image. It's an image thing, and he's obviously he's into the hip hop. He's got rapper friends. He's not about that life. If you
no.
look, he's not. I saw a funny little skit on TikTok. There's a skit of Carlton, and we're talking about Will Smith later from the
Yeah, of
Fresh
course.
Prince of Bel-Air,
Yeah.
and Carlton is like known for being kind of like a like a preppy guy, right?
Yeah, nerd.
And there's a skit of him like acting hood, and he's like, talking to Will Smith. Will Smith, who are you? And Carlton's like acting out of character, and people are saying that's Ja Morant. He's trying to be something he's not, right?
Yeah.
But for me, the flip side of it, and I'm going to play devil's advocate maybe because I'm not sure how you feel, and maybe you feel the same way. I don't know, but I feel like you might feel different than this.
Mhm.
Ja Morant's a young black man, right? He's got the jewels on, like you said. He's listening to hip hop music, I'm assuming, in the background, right? And he's
Right.
flashing a weapon. Okay, cool. Bad image, bad look. You're a superstar, you're a role model, whatever. You got to
Right.
know better, right? You should have people around you telling you, hey, man, you know, you don't even need a gun around you. Your security should have a gun, first off. He's got enough money for that, right? It's a whole nother
Absolutely.
conversation, though. So he doesn't need to have that. He's not a gangster. He doesn't need it.
Mhm.
But so let's say you have a NFL player. Let's just I'll be super stereotypical. Let's say it's an offensive lineman for the Cincinnati Bengals, okay? A
Okay.
prominent one, okay? It's got a lot of money like Ja, maybe not well as known, but offensive lineman from Texas. He went to born and raised in Texas where they love their guns. And now he plays in the Bengals, right? If that young man goes on Instagram Live and is listening to a Morgan Waller country Blake Shelton song in the background and he's shooting a gun, nobody says a damn thing.
Right.
Am I right or am I right? Nobody says
I
nothing,
agree. I would agree with that one.
right? So
Yeah.
I think it's also about how Ja Morant looks, the music he's listening to, the
Mhm.
lifestyle he wants to portray. Because if a white man does this and he's an offensive lineman for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's flashing a gun at a barbecue, the response, we don't even hear about it.
Let me
So
hit
I
you.
feel
Let
like
me.
I feel like he's being judged a little too hard, but I also feel like he's an idiot. He should know better. So
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's gonna vibe with what I'm saying, but I think there's a little bit of a double standard when it comes to weapons in this country. And like one person can hold a weapon, it's like cool, and the other person holds it and it's a threat. That's just
Right.
how I look at it. But
Well, I like that angle. It's good. It's always good to have some different angles there. Hector says you guys know that Colorado, the police department, is doing their own investigation to find out if he had a license to carry.
Yeah, I'm
If
sure
not,
they
he
are.
can face criminal charges. Hopefully he had, but there's some legit issues there. So what I will counter with you with this, Pedro, I'm trying to think of like a really like aggressive offensive lineman. All right. If Richie Incognito,
Okay, great. That's a good one. Yeah.
and his pattern of behavior, being aggressive,
Mhm.
being a bit dirty, badgering one of his teammates, if he had a gun and he was
He'd be the
shooting,
same.
it'd be like, oh, what are we doing? What's going on here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's really happening here?
Could
And I
be.
think that's what happened with Ja Morant. Ja Morant has displayed a pattern of behavior over this season where it looks like he's having issues with other teammates and a little bit as Dylan Brooks, but a lot of that he wants to back up Dylan Brooks. He's trying to meet people in the parking lot type of thing with the stupid flash, the laser pen. There's some other I don't know if it's a rumor or allegation that he hit somebody.
A 17-year-old like a 17-year-old. He punched some kid or something. Yeah, I saw that.
So I think that's the problem. It seems like, all right, every little thing he kind of excusing. All right, he's just, he's passionate. Yeah. He wants to stand up for himself. And yeah, he got the hip hop thing, but no big deals. There's so many NBA players out there. Listen to hip hop. Came from these neighborhoods where Ja Morant hasn't. Ja Morant's father played for the NBA. Okay. T. Morant actually played for the NBA. I don't remember that. But apparently he did.
Neither do I. I didn't know that, but okay.
Yeah. Like I don't know what teams he played for.
He might have been. Obviously he was a role player, bench player. He might have been in the league a couple years, but he wasn't like a star.
Yeah, he played high school with Ray Allen.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he was around. But so there wasn't, Ja Morant did not come from the gutter. He didn't come from the mud because the ones who aren't behaving that way. Jimmy Butler came from nothing. Like his parents, I think his mother didn't even want him. You don't see him walking around like that, or even the other one. So I know a lot of people are kind of acquainted to Allen Iverson. I don't think that's a real good comparison because Allen legit came from the streets. Like he didn't have his father; it was just his mother. So there's a lot of, I think Ja, like other people, they're desperate. I guess he has an identity issue, and he's trying to find himself, and he thinks this is what it is. I'm a tough guy. Like you're not. You just play basketball. Yeah. What's wrong with just being a basketball player? It's like that's not enough for him. He's one of the most talented basketball players, most explosives. I mean, the dunks he be putting on people at 6'3" is devastating, right? This is the team is still number 2 in the West.
Yeah, I think that's going to slip if he misses some time. I think there's only 17, 18 more games in the season, 20 games, Yeah. So if he let's say he misses the rest of them, which I guess could happen. I mean, they're going to slip in the standings a little bit, I think.
Yeah, and this is jeopardizing like I said, a season that they may actually get to the NBA Finals. And who knows if you get there, what can happen. And I blame the organization of the Memphis Grizzlies. They clearly don't have any control over him. They have nothing. And right now, they're number 2. So hold
on. What's the organization supposed to do? You don't think they've had conversations? You don't think they have somebody checking on it? Are they supposed to hold his hand? Like, are they supposed to tell him he can't go out? Are they supposed to, what are they supposed to do?
What would say if
Memphis?
the few other situations, did they properly investigate it? Maybe if they would have suspended him before this, he would have not done what he's doing. There seems like it's an escalation of it doesn't matter what happens, I'm good because I'm Ja Morant.
He's like escalation of behavior.
Yes. And I think even with Dylan Brooks, I know they think this idea, well, he's just a tough-nosed guy that's I don't know. Like eventually you're going to piss the wrong person off. So I don't know. I think they could be more aggressive. Now they have to be, but it's too late now. It's more of it could be possibly a criminal case. And now you want to suspend dude. That maybe should have been cut off at the we call it whatever earlier. I don't know. What do you think? Like, you think there was nothing they could have done? It's just him. Like,
I don't blame the organization
mm,
because I feel like I think a lot of these organizations do a lot. They try to do things and curfews and this and that and things and contracts and vetting these players through the draft process and seeing what kind of character they have. Like I think they do enough. At some point, it's the player's responsibility because these guys are going to go out. They got money. They're young, rich. They got money. They're going to go to clubs. They're going to go out to dinner. They're going to date
right,
women. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They get a few days off. They're traveling. You're going to blow steam off after a win or after a loss. You're going to celebrate after a win. Like that is normal. It's been happening in all the sports since the beginning, right?
right.
So I don't blame the organization. For me, and we've talked about this on this, we talked about fatherhood and the role of dads. Like
Yeah,
his dad's in his life. So is his dad not saying, "What's up, man?" Like, is he not grabbing him and saying, "You're gonna fuck everything up here"? Like, what are you doing?
it's
Does he not have
possible.
people around him, his
Yeah,
friends, his I know he's got a kid. I don't know if I don't feel like he's married, but like is his mom and is like who is his people around him saying, dude, what are you doing? You're about
right.
to you're about to lose some endorsement deals. Look at what you got a good team, like you got to be the leader. I feel like if it's anything, it's the people around him that I blame versus the organization. That's my opinion.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like with his father playing the NBA,
Yeah.
it got to maybe it's a point where it doesn't matter what anyone said to him. Like, look at me, I'm Ja Morant. I got the monster deal. I got the endorsement with Nike. Who cares? Who even cares about my father? I'm better than my father was. So what is he going to tell me? It's possible. I mean,
Right.
again, this kind of reminds me a little bit, and a very little bit. I'm not saying it's the same. Mike Tyson of being, the most, the baddest dude on the planet at 19, 20 years old. How
Hmm.
does that affect your brain? How's that, and we talked about this all the time, right? What would you do if you were in your early 20s and people thought you were amazing, you're great, you're an elite at your profession at 20? How would you behave? Right? If we honest with ourselves, you're like, we'd probably be a bunch of knuckleheads, right?
Yeah, I'm not waving guns on live though.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not that
yeah,
stupid. I might, you might catch me at the club with a couple baddies, but
maybe
I'm not.
fighting, yeah, maybe
I'm
doing some,
not. I'm not doing that. I'm not hitting 17-year-old kids.
yeah.
I'm not whatever with the laser pointer. I'm not doing that kind of shit. You might see me drunk out in a while. You might see me passed out at a bar one night. Big deal. But I'm not doing the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Why do you think he's behaving this way? Is
I don't
he
know,
under
man.
some stress? I know he released a statement saying he's going to take some time to basically seem like he didn't say mental health necessarily, but said take some time to kind of reflect and think, is it too much pressure? Like he seems like he enjoys playing ball. It don't seem like
Yeah.
the pressure bothers him. The team is doing well. What it must be something happening that we don't know that could be having, like you said, most players are doing, yeah, they're drinking, probably not having the best relationships with women, the
Yeah.
kind of women they're probably picking. And yeah, they may be a little indulgent in those areas, but they're
Yeah.
not trying to be a thug. They're not trying to thug it out. They're not participating
No.
in that. So I'm wondering what is going on in his head. Is it too much social media, too many trolls, and then maybe he should not be paying attention to what's on Twitter, what's on Instagram. But I am interested to know what's going on in him because he is hurting. He's hurting somehow. We
Yeah.
just don't know what it is.
Well, I think he's in that hip hop culture too, man. He surrounds himself with that element of being boisterous and showing off and you know what I'm saying, trying
Right.
to always overcompensate in ways, show people that you got it and really flashy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a part of that and that could dilute some of your mind, I think, a little bit and your sense of reality sometimes.
Boy,
Sometimes, the
yeah,
things we love about hip hop are also the things that could be cancer to our communities, man, at times,
yeah,
because when you're somebody that isn't really feeling great about maybe yourself or your surroundings, and maybe you got something going on and you got that hip hop, and it's like you always feel like you're trying to impress and show off and you're against everybody and you want to show what you got. And, you start becoming something that you're really not. And I think maybe he's diving into that a little bit. I don't know.
yeah,
Because we don't see this type of behavior in a lot of other music genres. You just don't, like
yeah.
so I think he's gonna be all right. He's super young still. Um, I think he's going to be fine. I think he'll learn from this, hopefully. And I mean, hopefully he should have a bright future. But the people around him have got to help him. I think he needs some support. He needs some tough love a little bit. So
yeah, I think so too. Hopefully, this is the rock bottom where he just needs to kind of take a step back, realize and really be humbled by the idea that you're not this guy that you think you are. I think that's the problem. He's hanging out in Memphis. I don't know what's happened. I don't know. A lot of people got in his head and kind of blew his head up to think that you could behave this way, and you're that kind of guy. I think you're right. I think a lot of this is his support system is enabling his behavior, and now everyone has to take a step back and say, "You're gonna ruin this kid's life." Because he's something is happening that we're not able to figure it out. Leave him alone. Let's try to salvage this season. I don't know if they're going to go as aggressively and basically bump him and, probably kick him off the entire year, but it's possible. It's a gun charge.
I think it's going to depend upon what the findings of the investigation are and like how that, I think that will say a lot of how they react. So
yeah, Hector says Steve Adams said the team needed to stop hanging out after road games. So obviously, I mean, clearly, I'm sure John has his entourage and these entourages. They're not going to say what you need to hear. They're going to say enough for you to keep the gravy train rolling. Let the money keep flowing so they can get their money. So yeah, he doesn't have a great support system, and maybe this is the time where T. Morant actually checks his son. But again, he has, like you said, it's his responsibility to say, okay, let me stop and move forward. So we'll see.